As the old saying goes, it's not what you know, but who you know. In the business world, this is especially true. Your success depends heavily on the insights and advice of those who have already achieved what you're striving for. But who do you turn to when you want to learn about money and business? One of the best resources available is Rich Dad, Poor Dad, a book by Robert Kiyosaki. The book is a collection of lessons that Kiyosaki learned from his two fathers: his biological father, who was poor and uneducated, and his rich dad, who was an entrepreneur and real estate investor. Rich Dad, Poor Dad is full of life-changing wisdom, and in this video, we're going to summarize the most important lessons from the book. So dig in and get ready to change your life. But before that, make sure to hit the like, subscribe button, and notification bell so you will never miss out our future contents like this. Who is Robert Kiyosaki? You may have heard of Rich Dad, Poor Dad, the book that has been dubbed as one of the most influential financial books of all time. But who is the man behind this New York Times bestseller? Robert Kiyosaki is an entrepreneur, investor, and author who has made a name for himself in the finance world. He's perhaps best known for his Rich Dad, Poor Dad book series, which offers readers a different perspective on wealth and money. Kiyosaki was born in 1957 in Hilo, Hawaii. His father was an educator and his mother a stay-at-home mom. He has 4 siblings. As a child, Kiyosaki was not wealthy, but he was privileged in other ways. His family was close-knit and supportive, and he had the opportunity to attend good schools. What is the story behind Rich Dad, Poor Dad? Rich Dad, Poor Dad is a book that was written by Robert Kiyosaki and published in 1997. The book is based on Kiyosaki's own life experiences, as well as those of his rich father and poor father. The book provides readers with key lessons on how to become financially successful in life. In particular, it focuses on the importance of acquiring assets, rather than simply earning income. Kiyosaki's rich father was an entrepreneur who built up a successful business empire. His poor father, on the other hand, was a salaried worker who never managed to get ahead financially. Kiyosaki draws on the experiences of both his fathers to provide readers with valuable insights into the world of money and wealth. If you're looking for a book that will change the way you think about money, then Rich Dad, Poor Dad is definitely worth reading. But how you can apply the lessons from Rich Dad, Poor Dad to your life? You're probably thinking, I don't have a rich dad to help me out. But that's not what this book is about. It's about changing the way you think about money and using that knowledge to build wealth. Rich Dad, Poor Dad is full of key lessons that can be applied to your life, no matter what your background is. Here are 3 of the most important lessons that you can take away from the book. 1. It's not about how much money you make, it's about how much money you keep. 2. Invest in assets, not liabilities. 3. The rich get richer because they know how to use their money to make more money. The lessons Robert Kiyosaki learned from his poor dad. Even though his poor dad was not around much, Robert Kiyosaki still learned some important lessons from him. One of the most important things he learned was the importance of hard work. Poor dad always worked long hours, sometimes even working 2 jobs to make ends meet. This instilled in Robert a strong work ethic, and he has carried that with him throughout his life. Another lesson Robert learned from his poor dad was the importance of education. Poor dad placed a high value on education, and he made sure that his son got good grades and went to college. This lesson has stayed with Robert, and it has helped him immensely in his business career. These are just 2 of the key lessons that Robert Kiyosaki learned from his poor dad. These lessons have helped him immensely in his life and career, and they can help you too. The lessons Robert Kiyosaki learned from his rich dad. Robert Kiyosaki was raised by 2 fathers, his biological father, who he calls his poor dad, and his friend's father, who he calls his rich dad. From these 2 different men, he learned some very important life lessons that have shaped his views on money and success. Perhaps the most important lesson he learned was that the rich don't work for money. His rich dad taught him that the key to building wealth is to find a way to make money work for you. This could mean investing in assets that will appreciate in value over time, or starting a business that generates passive income. Whatever route you decide to take, the key is to focus on building wealth rather than simply earning a paycheck. It's a lesson that has clearly served Robert Kiyosaki well, as he is now one of the richest men in the world. 1. Money is everything. You might not want to believe it, but money is everything. It's the root of all evil, and it's the reason why the world is such a mess. But money is also the reason why we have food on our table and a roof over our heads. Rich Dad, Poor Dad is a book that explores the relationship between money and happiness. The author, Robert Kiyosaki, argues that money is the key to happiness. He offers several pieces of advice on how to make more money and how to use it to achieve happiness. Kiyosaki's advice may seem controversial, but there's no denying that money plays a big role in our lives. If you're looking for ways to be happier, you might want to start by looking at your bank account. 2. The rat race is a trap. You know the saying, the grass is always greener on the other side? Well, in the case of the rat race, that's most definitely not true. The rat race is a never-ending cycle of working to make money to buy things to impress people you don't even like. And it's not just a trap, it's a vicious one. Those who are caught in the rat race are usually too busy working to even realize that they're in it. They're so focused on keeping up with the Joneses that they don't bother to ask themselves whether or not they're actually happy. If you're caught in the rat race, it's time to stop and ask yourself what you're really chasing after. Is it happiness, or is it just more stuff? You need to get out of the middle-class mindset. If you're stuck in the middle-class mindset, then you're not going to get very far in life. This is one of the key lessons that Robert Kiyosaki lays out in his best-selling book, Rich Dad, Poor Dad. The middle-class mindset is all about security, getting a good job, working hard, and saving for retirement. But this mindset is actually keeping you trapped in a cycle of financial insecurity. To break out of this cycle, you need to start thinking like the rich. The rich don't work for money, they make money work for them. They understand that wealth is created not by how much you earn, but by how much you save and invest. So if you want to get ahead in life, you need to start changing your mindset. Stop chasing after security and start chasing after wealth. It's time to start thinking like the rich. 3. Save your money. Here's a fun fact for you. The rich don't save their money, they invest it. And there's a big difference between the two. When you save your money, you're hoarding it away in a fear-based mindset, thinking that you'll never have enough. But when you invest your money, you're putting it to work for you so that it can grow and make more money. Rich Dad taught his son that the poor and middle class save their money while the rich invest their money. He said that if you want to be rich, you need to start thinking like the rich. And that starts with investing your money instead of saving it. 4. Invest in yourself. In order to get ahead in life, you need to invest in yourself. It's not enough to just put your money into savings or stocks. You need to invest in your own education, your own growth, and your own future. Too many people think that they can get by on their looks or their talent alone. But the truth is, looks fade and talent can be replicated. The only thing that is truly unique to you is your experience and your ability to learn and grow. So if you want to be rich, invest in yourself. Invest in your education, in your personal development, and in your ability to continue learning and growing. The returns on this investment will be far greater than any monetary gains you could ever hope for. 5. Be an entrepreneur. While there are a number of key takeaways from Rich Dad, Poor Dad, one of the most important is to be an entrepreneur. Kiyosaki himself is a successful entrepreneur, and he believes that this is the best way to create true financial freedom. Being an entrepreneur means being your own boss, being in control of your own income, and having the ability to make your own decisions. It's not always an easy path, but it is a path that can lead to great success. If you're looking to make a real change in your financial life, then becoming an entrepreneur is a great place to start. Who knows, you might even end up as successful as Kiyosaki himself. Thanks for reaching in this video timeline watching our detailed summary of Rich Dad, Poor Dad. We hope you found it helpful and insightful. Now that you know the key lessons from the book, we encourage you to put them into action in your own life. Only by doing so can you hope to make the kind of positive change that Robert Kiyosaki advocates. We wish you all the best on your journey to financial freedom. If this video helps you to get motivated, please give it a thumbs up and subscribe, and we'll see you on the next video.